Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioners Clubhouse and the LCC Network for divisional round in the NFL. We got a lot to talk about today. With me today, though, I've got Jameson, like always, and Isaac. How's it going, guys?
Hey, boys.
Guys. What's up, y'all? Yeah, I'm excited. Second episode of the off season. So today we've got just a quick announcement: last season breakouts, rule proposals, and then the NFC and AFC playoff predictions. So we're gonna jump right into it. Real quick, just a reminder: all rule proposals are due on the website at January 15th, which is Tuesday, I think. It's Tuesday.
Yep.
So there's a message board. Go post that. If you don't post it by then, you will not be able to propose a rule. So
don't procrastinate, people. Go ahead and do it.
Although we've kind of procrastinated ourselves.
But to be fair, we want to get explain why we're proposing it instead of just people reading it and misinterpreting things. We want to explain it and then let people vote.
Yeah.
So in our defense, but we are going to post it very soon, so you guys can go ahead and vote for it. So go ahead, Jameson, for the next segment.
All right, cool. Awesome. So here's the segment. So last season breakouts is what I want to talk about. So I know last week we said we'd do a lot of 2018 discussion, and so that's what this is. But I couldn't help wanting to look ahead at 2019, at least a little bit, just a little bit. So we put together a list of players from all different positions that kind of broke out last year. It was their first, great year of fantasy football. And so we just wanted to kind of talk about that and kind of see what that would look like moving forward. So are you guys cool with that?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Let's do
it. So we've got QBs here. We're just going to kind of go down in that order. So we've pulled, Dak Prescott, who finished 9th, Baker Mayfield, who finished 17th, and Josh Allen, who finished 22nd. So this is their positional rank. So not the overall rank, the positional rank. So is there anyone on here, you guys in QBs, that you guys really want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll start that off. Crazy fun fact: Dak Prescott for the Dallas Cowgirls scored the same amount of fantasy points that Drew Brees did. Granted, Drew Brees did sit out his last game, but still, that's kind of shocking to me personally, considering people are saying Drew Brees had an MVP type year. I mean,
are you begging on something?
Yeah, I was about to say he's doing that Mussolini town right now. He's so passionate about this.
Please don't compare me to Dabo.
No, I said Mussolini. Like, know what I'm from World War II.
Yeah, I know who Mussolini.
Sorry, I just went like history nerd on everyone, but
Italy.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree, Isaac. I definitely agree. Dak Prescott. I think this is his highest finish in his entire career, if I'm not mistaken. He's always kind of
for all that.
Yeah, exactly. He's always leaned on, Zeke in that backfield. And, 9th is way too high, in my opinion. I put together a quick list of quarterbacks that I would 100% take ahead of Dak next year. Rodgers, Brees, Mahomes, Wentz, Ryan, Allen, Winston, Watson, Rivers, Big Ben, Luck, Newton, Wilson, Trubisky, and Jared Goff. That's 15 guys.
Hey, 5 more guys. James Winston.
Yeah, exactly. 5 more guys I might take ahead of Dak Prescott, depending on their situations, their rosters. Kirk Cousins, Matt Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson. So at the highest, in my opinion, Dak's 16. At the lowest, he's probably 21.
Hey, Pat, did Jameson go out on your end when he was saying that, or was that just me?
No, I heard him.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Continue, my bad.
Yeah. So, I think that's way too high. Dak's going to regress. But, yeah, that's just, I just wanted to say that before we moved on.
All right. So, next, I got the RBs, the running backs. Philip Lindsay finished 12th. Chris Carson finished 13th. Derrick Henry finished 14th. And Nick Chubb finished 15th. Out of these guys, which one do you feel is going to exceed that next year? Which guy do you think is not going to be that next year?
I'll start it off, and I know you could say there's bias involved in this, but I'm not even being biased at all.
You're gonna say Nick Chubb, aren't you? Yeah,
I'm going to say Nick Chubb. I'm going to say Nick Chubb for some big reasons here. Go look at his stats. Once he became the actual starter in Cleveland, dude, the man was a tier 2 running back the rest of the year. I mean, he was a rock solid starter week in, week out. If you had him in any fantasy league, and especially I mean, even in a PPR league, he brings a lot of value, believe it or not. And with the Cleveland offense, I mean, I feel like he's going to be kind of that guy that, I mean, granted, health, no health issues or anything like that. I really believe that he can stay at least in the top 15. But honestly, I think he's a top 10. He's a top 10 running back. He's definitely an RB1 for sure. And that's why I
That's
feel like
a
he's definitely
bold statement there, Cotton.
No, dude. All right. Like, here's the
No,
thing.
Top 10
James
next
White.
year? Top 10? That's a bold statement.
I think it could happen. I think he's a back end top. I think he's a back end one. His numbers from week 7 to week 16, he never scored less than 20 fantasy points. I've got this here: 28, 20, 30, 72, 46, 23, 28, 23, 29. And in week 17, he only played set. He only got
the
7.
sophomore slump is real. I don't. It happens to the majority of NFL players. So I mean, we will see. We got head coaching turnover. They fired Greg Williams. I know he was the defensive coordinator, but he was the interim coach. They promoted the offensive coordinator. So we're kind of are wondering, is it going to be the same Browns team, or how are things going to shape out next year? So I mean, like I said, I think that's a little bit bold, but I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't happen.
But you know what else he brings that I really like too is that he caught the ball a lot in Cleveland, which is really surprising. I thought he was going to be more of a kind of toe at the rock kind of guy. He caught the ball a lot, and some of them, I mean, we're talking 30-yard touchdown passes from Nick Chubb, and they weren't screens. Like he ran 30 yards down the field. So I like him a lot going into next year. I like Philip Lindsay a lot. Philip Lindsay is the number 1 on that team. He's going to be an RB1 next year. I'm taking Philip Lindsay ahead of guys like Devonta Freeman.
For sure. Yeah.
Any of James White, Sony Michel, Kerryon Johnson, Leonard Fournette. I'm taking Philip Lindsay ahead of all those guys next year.
Real quick, anyone here think that Devonta Freeman will ever be an RB1 again?
No.
I don't feel
he's done.
Yeah,
he's gonna be lucky to be
Move on. Next segment.
Freeman's done. Carson Wentz and Derrick Henry. I just want to really briefly. I do not believe in Derrick Henry. Don't pick him. And Chris Carson's still in a timeshare. I mean, Rashad Penny was a number 1, a round 1 running back, so I'm not going to give up on him that easily. But I'm not buying Chris Carson or Derrick Henry going into next season.
All right, Pat, you leading off this next one.
With receivers here, some of the guys that really came onto the scene last year: Robert Woods, who finished 12th overall in receivers; George Kittle. This is obviously combined receivers and tight ends. George Kittle 15th, Amari Cooper 20. I want to start this one off, guys, just because I really liked him, what he did, especially with absolutely no quarterback. I love me some George Kittle, man. That dude is, I'm telling you, I think for future purposes for the San Francisco 49ers, he is their key to their offensive woes. Sorry, I'm losing my voice over here. But really came onto the scene, man.
Yesterday, huh?
No, dude, George Kittle is the real deal. He outscored T.Y. Hilton. He outscored Brandon Cooks. He outscored Odell Beckham. Outscored Eric Ebron. Outscored Amari Cooper. Kenny Galladay. Tyler Lockett. I mean, he outscored a ton of players as a tight end. I mean, that is extremely valuable because you can get George Kittle more than likely through the offseason waiver wire this year. And, I really like the upside with George Kittle.
Yeah, he was almost a wide receiver 1 this year. That's or wide receiver / tight end 1 this year. And he was actually the number 1 leader in yards for tight ends, even though Travis Kelce scored more touchdowns.
I was about to say, Zach Ertz is up there too, boy. You can't forget about that man.
No, yeah, they're both still up there. Kelce was higher in fantasy points because he had more touchdowns, but George Kittle had more yards than any of the tight ends this year. My only thing is we haven't seen him play a lot with Jimmy Garoppolo, so we'll see what happens with that next year. But I love George Kittle. I love Robert Woods.
I was about to say, even when Jimmy was part of the offense, so George was getting a lot of targets. So, I mean, he was still getting the ball a lot. And I think they really believe in his capabilities in San Fran. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a definite 100% top 3 tight end next year, but I will say he's a definite top 5 for sure.
Oh, yeah. I think he's probably a top 3. I mean, Gronk is obviously about to, fall apart. I mean, he can't even move anymore. There's not a lot of tight ends who can, cement that status. I mean, Eric Ebron's up there now, but it's still Kelsey, Ertz, and then I think it's probably Kittle now, right there in the third spot. But
all right, let me jump in and say something. I remember when Robert Woods was a special teamer for the Buffalo Bills, and now he has blossomed into a legitimate threat in that Rams offense. And Amari Cooper, we know he's already had some breakout seasons before, but the man's been irrelevant for a couple of years now with injuries and just not knowing how to catch the ball. But now he is back. I feel like he's not going to be a top 15 guy, but he's going to be a lot better going forward in that Dallas offense.
So you guys want to hear something interesting? Earlier this season, Robert Woods and Keenan Allen were swapped in our conference between Jade and Peyton. They finished 12th and 13th in fantasy scoring.
Yeah, I saw that.
Keenan
crazy,
Allen
right?
probably would have beaten Robert Woods had he not gotten hurt in week 15. He had 0 points. He got hurt in like the first few plays of the game. But I thought that was really interesting. Their average was less than a point difference. I thought that was very interesting. Real quickly, Amari Cooper, what do you guys think? You guys like him next year?
It's kind of like we said about Dak, man. Like, I think his success kind of hinges upon Dak and Zeke, and I believe Zeke will be obviously good next year. But man, no, I think Amari Cooper will be kind of where he was, like 20th overall in the rankings. I think he's a solid wide receiver too.
Yeah, I think he's a low end too. He did still have 3 single-digit fantasy games, even after being traded to Dallas. So while he did have a few boom games, he still had a lot of bad games too. So we'll see what happens going into next year. But so defensive linemen here, we've got Chris Jones, who finished 7th. DeForest Buckner, that's a surprise, finished 9th, and Damon Snacks Harrison, who finished 10th after being traded to the Lions, I believe. Any of these guys you like moving forward, don't like moving forward?
I mean, to be honest with you, for DeForest Buckner and Snacks Harrison, I mean, they're both 2 D tackles. I mean, and they finished in the top 10. So it kind of shows you, yeah, DNs get sacks, but these guys get sacks and tackles, and they get more tackles than sacks, and they're more reliable because of that.
So we did the analysis, though. They're the only 2 defensive tackles in the top 10, right?
Yeah.
For defensive line.
Let me tell you a little fun fact about DeForest Buckner. And I know we're kind of holding off before we start really revealing our data for player projections and so forth. But in terms of consistency, DeForest Buckner is hands down has been the most consistent defensive tackle the past 3 seasons. 44 tackles in 2016, 45 2017, and 44 in 2018. That is super consistent, especially for the D tackle position. What helped him this year was the 12 sacks, man. He had 12 sacks. Go back and look at 17, he only had 3. 2016, he had 6. He's very consistent with his tackles, but this year he exploded on the splash plays and really made a difference with the sack points he was racking up in IDP leagues.
And only 2 single-digit games.
Yeah.
Guys like Cameron Jordan, who was drafted much sooner than DeForest Buckner, had 5 single-digit games. So, I mean, he was incredibly consistent.
And he's a young guy, dude. He's 24 years old, 6'7", 300 pounds. I mean, this guy's going to be good for a couple more years. And you probably don't have to give up a lot to keep him or even to get him probably off of the offseason. Oh, yeah, probably the offseason waiver wire even.
Well, he was drafted in the same draft as Mitch Trubisky, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Like the next pick or something like that.
He's been there for a couple of years now. I think this is his 3rd year. Mr. Trubisky's only been there for 2, so I think it was the draft before.
I swear I thought it was the Trubisky draft.
I think Solomon Thomas was in the Trubisky draft.
Did he go to the Niners as well?
Yes, Solomon Thomas.
Maybe that's who I'm thinking about then.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, so next we got some linebackers. Corey Littleton for the Rams finished 2nd. Leighton Vander Esch with the Cowgirls finished 4th. And Kiko Alonso with the Dolphins finished 10th. Out of these guys, which one do you feel is the bona fide guy now? And which one do you feel that you can't really trust him?
Real quick, you not like the Cowboys, Isaac?
Oh no, I just think it's funny because I mean, how many of our listeners are actually Cowboys fans?
Oh, okay. Tyler
Tyler's
is,
the only one.
for some reason.
I know.
He's never been
He's
to
also a
Tampa
Bucks
or
fan. He can't
Dallas.
make up his mind. It's like when the Bucks are good, he'll go for them, but Cowboys are good, he'll go for them too. So
That's
Typical
true. He was a
Cowboys
Bucks fan
fan.
when they were good. So he was a Bucks fan. They were good. So that was like 14 years ago. And now he's been a Cowboys fan ever since. And now he kind of stops. Um, but yeah, I'll go. So Leighton Vander Esch, I think he's a locked. I'm not a lot here. I think he's a locked and loaded LB1 from here on out. Even when Sean Lee was healthy, they still played him almost every down. I don't have any concerns with him not playing, regardless of what Sean Lee does this year. So he's locked and loaded for me.
No, I agree with you, man. I'm a huge believer in Vander Esch. I liked him. I liked the pick in the regular draft. The Cowboys did. I felt like it was a solid pick. But he's the real deal, and I kind of think he's literally going to put up similar numbers to Sean Lee, a young Sean Lee did, which for IDP purposes, that is great. I mean, that's what you want to see out of a linebacker. But I'll tell you right now, dude, the guy on this list that I do not believe in is Kiko Alonso. And, sure, there's some sour feelings on my end because I cut Kiko right after the draft, but still, I just don't see it, man. I've never been a Kiko believer. I mean, maybe he'll prove me wrong, but as of now, yeah, he's the one I'm definitely not buying into of the three.
Well, how old is he?
fun.
He's in his late 20s,
29,
early 30s,
I think.
isn't he?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's like 20. Yeah.
I tend to shy away from older players anyway, but he's never proven to be a reliable fantasy starter until like now. So I mean, why would we believe he can do it again at 29 years old? It's not like it's not like it's his second or third year in the league, you know. So no, I agree.
And I want to show my boy Corey Littleton some love. I believe he's going to be at LB1 next year. And I know they run a 3-4, but I mean, this was his first year actually starting, and he put up some numbers for me this year.
Yeah, he had a great year. My only concern with him is Mark Barron was out a little bit with injury, and so I don't.
It was only like 3 games, but it doesn't matter because he was still just outperforming Barron when they were on the field together anyway. So
I mean, he showed up without Alec Ogletree being, after being traded to New York, he definitely showed up. So we'll see what they do. If they draft a linebacker for depth, I might be worried. But yeah, right now he looks like he's going to be a good pick for next year.
All right.
Pat,
so I got
DBs.
my DBs here, and I feel like out of all the lists, this is definitely the one consisting of the most oldest players. We're going to kick it off. We're going to work backwards to forwards here. Kareem Jackson, who finished 9th. Sean Williams, who finished 3rd. And Antoine Bethea, who finished 2nd. These guys are all, if you go and look, dude, they've all got a little bit of age to them. I mean, granted, Sean Williams and Kareem Jackson are much younger than Bethea, but out of the 3, one guy that I really do believe in is Kareem Jackson. I'm a big believer in Kareem Jackson. Out of these 3, at least, I think the guy is definitely going to fall off is Bethea because of his age. Dude, you can't keep putting up his numbers much longer, man. At the ripe age of 36, I think.
No,
33.
He's 33, but still.
Yeah. He looks 36, man. But he racks up points, man. He gets a ton of tackles. He's also racking up, getting some passes defended here and there too. And really, if you go look at his career, dude, a 6th-round pick for the Colts, and now look at him, he's a top 2 DB in IDP in our IDP league at least. I really, really like him, but I just don't see him putting up the same kind of numbers much longer, being 34 years old.
Yeah, something that me and Isaac talked about, a couple of days ago, Isaac? We were looking at some of the rankings, and we're not going to go divulge a lot because we're still working through it, but the Cardinals had 3 DBs and 3 safeties, as a matter of fact, finished in the top 20 in fantasy. Buda Baker, Trey Boston, and Antoine Bethea. And of those 3, Antoine Bethea, I think, is the one that I'm probably the most concerned about. His age, being subbed in and out on certain packages, and they all ranked there because they had the worst pass defense this year. I mean, if that improves even, a tad bit, we could see the decline in Antoine Bethea's opportunity, I think is what I'm.
And you can also not forget DJ Swearinger was released by the Redskins, and he is now back on the
That's
Cardinals.
crazy.
Exactly.
So
That's nuts.
Exactly.
that is
I mean,
also something you have to consider when you look at him.
Yeah, if I'm picking their DBs, it's probably Swearinger and Buda Baker, the two that I have the most faith in. I don't think Trey Boston's even coming back. If he signed a 1-year deal last year, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he did because he didn't get picked up in the offseason. They just picked him up before training camp.
Yeah. So beware of Antoine Bethea, Kareem Jackson. They also have a lot of safeties. They can rotate in, especially now that Andre Howell's back from the cancer diagnosis. Justin Reed looks like he's going to be a long-time starter. Kareem Jackson, though, even if he's not a safety, can still play cornerback. So I think even if they don't have him in a safety role, he can still be very, very valuable. Even in a cornerback role, he's still scored enough points to be fantasy relevant. So I don't have a ton of worry about him, even if he moves back to that role. So, all right. So that's it for those players. We'll continue doing things like that throughout the offseason, but we wanted to kind of go back to rule proposals. I don't have anything else to discuss. I kind of got the biggest one that I wanted to talk about yet last week. So I want to leave more time for Isaac and Patrick. So Isaac, if you want to go first, try to keep it, 5 to 7 minutes or so, and
Yeah,
do the same for
geez.
Pat. God, Isaac.
You really do have the most rule proposals though, out of
that.
everyone, like for sure.
We can do an
Because
entire episode on nothing but Isaac.
Oh, we
rule
really
proposals.
could.
And we would still be pressing for time.
And it get the most views because it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what would
All
happen.
right, to start off, I got some defensive point rule changes. For me, I feel like there's a big gap from 5 points for a solo tackle and 1 point for an assist, especially when the line's really very thin. It's like it's really up to that person. Is it a solo tackle or is it a assist? So I'm proposing that we make a assist half of a solo tackle. Yes, I know it's 5 points. So we either decide with 2 points or 3 points. It's really up to you guys. I'm going to put both in there just to see which people prefer. But I'm saying, linebackers get 4 points for a tackle. So I'm going to suggest 2 for me personally. Obviously that's half. And for DTs, DNs, and DBs, they get 5 a tackle. I'm going to suggest 3. Also, next, a defensive lineman, if they get a strip sack, they get 25 points in run play. They get 8 for a sack, 5 for a tackle, and 12 for a forced fumble. I mean, that's a lot of points for one play. And considering, 25 is a solid game by a D tackle, I feel like we need to tick it back a little bit. Not much, but I'm suggesting that all turnovers, if it's a forced fumble, interception, it should be weighed the same across the board. They're at 12 right now each. I'm just saying back it off to either 10 or 8 just to make it not, what's a way that you guys can jump in and help me with this?
What are you trying to say? Just for general, you want some of the big fluky plays to not weigh so heavily in the scoring? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like one good play is not going to determine their fantasy relevance for that game. Like if they have one of those, they're pretty much set for that whole entire game as far as being a solid option.
I mean, I can understand that to some degree. I think for us, especially because we do so much analysis in the off season and trying to get rankings so we can get drafting. Like maybe I'm not. I don't know if I want to speak for you guys, but we prefer like really consistent scoring. Like we don't like fluky plays if you're doing analysis and trying to figure out guys that are going to be consistent year to year. So, I mean, I could understand that. I don't know how many guys in the league are like that, but I mean, I can understand that.
All right, and last thing I want to do is propose that we stop collecting cumulative stats for your players at the end of our regular season, because I think Levante David was hurt and he missed like the last 4 games of our regular season, or he came back for the last one or something like that. And then during the playoffs, granted I did make it a couple games in the playoffs, but he just went off and went from like a 10th round keeper and jumped up all the way to like a 5th. for me. So I'm suggesting that we just cut it off right at 12 at the end of our regular season. So even for players that don't make it to the playoffs, that at the end of the season, that's where their players are going to be.
So what if he had gotten hurt? What if he had gotten? Yeah, I mean, I feel like a rule change is kind of solve a problem. What if he had gotten hurt in week 12 and missed the rest of the season and dropped? Would you still propose this rule change?
Yes.
I feel like by doing that, it doesn't accurately show their value for the whole NFL season, which is what you look at when you look at player data. You don't just look at weeks, these certain weeks, because when you look at all the weeks, it really shows what they did the entire NFL season and what their value is going into the next season. I don't know. I just don't.
I know, but the thing is you can still see what they scored throughout the year. But as far as cumulative points that you're going to use to determine keepers is going to stop at 12. And we've already talked about this, Pat. And you said that you were on board with it, so you changed your mind.
No, I've never said I was on board with this one. This is one that I've just never. I don't know, man. To me, it doesn't make sense to do week 12. That season really goes to week 16 in our league, to include the postseason. And like I said, it's not going to accurately display kind of what they did as a player. I mean, it's just showing what they did for the first 75% of the NFL season. I don't know. I feel like it really should be weeks 1 through 17 for that. But that's just me.
All right.
Okay.
For this one. Yeah. That's why
you did say that, by the way. But...
That's why there's three of us, because we're not going to always agree, and that's what makes it great. That's why we want to do this show, because there's always disagreements and opinions on what we should do, and so that's why we like to talk about it. But Pat, you want to talk about your rule change real quick?
So one thing I really need to pick back up on. I totally forgot to discuss this with the one player pool. But anyways, real briefly on this, one thing I didn't mention was that if we do the one player pool, I'm not proposing that we totally reset rosters and totally redraft for a couple reasons. One, I think the majority of us, if we were to do this, would prefer to be able to hold on to some of our players. And then two, it would just make the draft excessively long by doing that. Essentially what you're doing is taking away 3 rounds of the draft in terms of time if everyone's keeping 3 players, which will definitely speed up the process. But also the way you kind of view this, because obviously, for example, there's 2 Tom Brady's in between both conferences. There's 2 Odell Beckhams, blah, 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 blah. You get the picture. But the way to solve that issue and to still have keepers is to allow owners to bid on players. So I don't have really a number in mind, but just to make it simple, let's say each team gets $100 to bid on their keepers for the following year. It's really hard without just visually showing someone this. But essentially what I'm saying is that you would be able to spend that $100 however you want on whatever keepers you want. Now, because of the fact we're going to have instances where people are going to bid the same amount on certain players, my proposal is that, you only keep 3 players from this past season, but you bid up to 5 players. That way, if 2 of your guys or if one of your guy ends up being taken by another team, you still have some other players to fall back on. And it's still going to take away from the draft pick if you keep a player. So let's say for me, I want to keep Darius Leonard and I spend $75 of $100. No, I wouldn't do that. But that I would still lose my first round pick to keep Darius Leonard because he was my number 1 scorer from last year. So that's kind of how that works. Again, if it's a little confusing, definitely text me or something and I can better explain that. And I'll probably explain a little bit better when I put this rule proposal up there. But just wanted to throw that out there that no, I'm not suggesting that we reset our rosters. We're still going to have keepers from from the previous year, but that's the way of solving the issue of, people having the same players and different rosters. And then also, if you end up bidding the same amount on a player as the other team, then what's going to happen is that player is going to fall. If you don't have any cash reserve still, that player's just going to fall into the draft pool, and another person gets to keep him, and it'll add a little bit more value to the draft too, which would make things a little bit better. So moving on from that, I don't want to beat a dead horse there. Off-season trading rule. This is one I think majority of people, I believe, will enjoy. So as you know, last season when you traded a player in the off-season, what ended up happening was it kind of rechanged all of your player rankings and your draft value for certain players. What it's going to do is, what I'm proposing at least, is that if you trade a player, let's say me and Isaac traded, let's say I traded him, let's say I traded for Kareem Hunt for whatever reason and gave up Darius Leonard. I don't know, that's the only player I could think of on his roster. So let's say I did that, and let's say I did, I don't know, let's add on another linebacker he's got. I don't know. Anyway, so if we did that trade, both of those players would go on my taxi squad in the offseason, and Darius Leonard would completely fall off my roster, and therefore I would free up my first-round pick. I'm guaranteed now to have my first-round pick going into the 2019 draft, but I would have two less players I can get in the waiver wire, and it's going to work in reverse order. So it's going to backfill instead of you losing your first waiver wire pick to make things a little bit easier on everyone. So Darius Leonard, I mean, it doesn't matter whichever way you look at it. Our Kareem Hunt and then that linebacker would go into my fourth and third round waiver wire spots. So it would only have my first and second round waiver picks. Again, I think this is going to encourage trading in the offseason. I think it's going to make things a little bit more exciting. And I think, again, more teams are just going to be willing to trade overall, knowing that, hey, I can free up draft picks by doing this. It's not going to hurt my other players' keeper value. And, you know, it's just a waiver wire pick. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of our last two waiver wire picks weren't guys that were studs anyways, so it's not a big deal. And then what it's going to do is obviously bump a few players, obviously nothing significant, but bump a few players into the draft instead of them getting taken in the offseason waiver wire. So I think overall it's going to add a better flow to the offseason. I think it's going to be more exciting. And again, you're going to get a lot more trade offers, and I think you're going to get a lot more deals out of doing this, everyone in the league. And so definitely one I think is going to help us all out, and I think it's just going to make things so much more simple when we do trades. You don't have to think about, oh, well, what is this going to do to my quarterback in my rankings? I wanted to keep him. Now it's going to bump him up way too high. You don't have to think about that. Hey, if you traded away a player, that pick where you were going to have to keep him is now free, and you can do whatever you want with it. So, yeah, that is the off-season trading rule.
Yeah, it's a lot of information, a lot of rule changes. So make sure that you guys are asking us questions. Make sure that you're clarifying if you're posting your own rules, and that way we can lead to as much satisfaction and fun as we can heading into next season. So, all right, awesome guys. So last before we close out the show here, we want to do NFL playoff predictions for today, Saturday, and tomorrow, Sunday. So we'll all kind of run through this, give our predictions, and then that'll be it. So. All right, so today we've got the AFC divisional round. We got the Colts playing Kansas City at 4:35. So, Pat, who do you like in this game?
This one, I mean, I could see going either way. It's in Kansas City, hostile environment for the Colts, but I really, really believe in the Colts' defense, and I really, really believe in their offense too, actually. Despite it being in the snow, despite it being in Kansas City, I really think the Colts are going to pull out a win here, pull out an upset. I'm thinking, you know, it's probably going to be the matter of defense in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a field goal, though, difference. It's definitely going to be a really close game. And it's probably one I'm most excited to see this week.
Yeah, so I've got same info at home in the cold, but I've got the Chiefs 34-28. They're at home. Their pass rush is amazing. We actually got some data from like Chris Jones, who didn't play a lot on the field, but finishes the number 7 defensive end. They're so efficient. They're so aggressive. That Colts O-line is great, but I think in the on the road, in the cold, in the snow, that pass rush is going to get there. The Chiefs are going to have a great game, but I would not be surprised if the Colts win it. I'm cheering for the Colts in this one, but give me the Chiefs 34-28. Isaac?
All right, so basically Pat stole exactly what I was going to say, so I'm just going to go with the Colts.
Just say the Colts. All right, cool. So
Yeah.
2 hosts picking an upset. We got the NFC divisional round today. We got the Dallas Cowboys. Isaac put Cowgirls on the show doc at the Rams at 8:15. Patrick, who do you got?
I got the Rams by 10 in this one. Granted, it's really not a home field advantage for the Rams. I feel like they never truly fill that stadium out for their games. It's a huge stadium, dude. The LA Coliseum's big, if you don't know that. But, dude, it's in LA. I don't think that's going to be a difference maker. I really just think the Rams are going to be able to pull this one out. I know a lot of people are saying, well, they're not going to be able to stop Zeke. They're going to be able to pound the rock. They're going to be able to shut him down defensively, too. And the Cowboys are going to pull out an upset. I don't know, man. I'm just not buying it. Maybe it's because I haven't seen the Cowboys good in the playoffs in a very long time, and I still don't. I'm still not a believer in them, and I'm not just hating on the Cowboys because I dislike the Cowboys. Trust me, I hate the Rams a lot more than the Cowboys. But I'm a believer in the Rams winning this game for sure.
Yeah, I've got the Rams 31-21, also by 10. They're at home. The Cowboys don't play as well on the road, and the pass offense, just the offense in general for the Rams, is amazing. I say the pass offense because the Cowboys have a great rush defense, but their pass defense is really lackluster. I think Jared Goff can tear him up through the air, and I think Dak, man. I don't know. That game against Seattle at home, they still pulled it out by 2. I'm not trusting them against the Rams.
Oh, real quick, rumor wheel going around I just saw, which you guys may have known, everyone else may have known too, but rumor is the Cowboys might be extending Jason Garrett's contract. And they're probably going to come down to this game, to be honest, which would really suck for the Cowboys if they do that.
That's not surprising. They've made bad decisions for 20 years now. So, Isaac, who do you got?
Rams at home. I know they don't fill it up, but I got the Rams.
All right,
Ty Gurley's going to run rampant. I know that their rush defense is pretty good, but Gurley's just the man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're all in the Rams. Tomorrow's games in the AFC, we got the Chargers and the Patriots at 1:00. Pat, who do you got?
This one, man, I know a lot of people believe in the Chargers, their offense and defense, and yeah, I think they got a really good team. But dude, it is in New England, the divisional round, and you got the damn GOAT under center, like always. I will never, under any circumstance, pick against Tom Brady in the postseason or Bill Belichick. And I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I've got it a close game. I'm sure you guys do too, but I've got the Patriots by a field goal in this one. In New England, cold game, and a game that I think Brady is just going to revel in playing against Rivers. And they played each other in the postseason before, but it's always, from my knowledge, been in back then San Diego. So.
No, yeah, I've got the Chargers 27-23. They're 8-0 on the road. They've got a ton of weapons. They've got a great defense. There aren't a lot of weapons in New England. Gronk is basically useless. James White, Rex Burkhead, Sony Michel's been injured. So I'm going with the Chargers here. I wouldn't be surprised if New England wins it, but I'm all on the Chargers this weekend. Isaac?
All right. Like Pat said, give me the GOAT. Rivers is 0-7 all time versus Brady, and that's including playoffs. You just don't go against the GOAT, especially when it's playoffs. So give me the Patriots.
Well, I'm going against the GOAT, and I have no fear. All right, so we got last game, NFC divisional round. The Eagles at the Saints at 4:40. This is going to be rough. Pat, who you got?
Oh man, yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one. It's in New Orleans. That is a tough place to play, man. Especially in the playoffs, especially when it's Sean Payton, especially when it's Philip Rivers, and you got that complete team that they do compared to the Eagles, who are just banged up. A healthy Eagles team, I think this would actually be a good game. But unfortunately, no. Not the Patriots. The Saints winning this one by 13 in the Superdome. Yeah, I just don't see any way the Eagles can get past them here.
Yeah, I've got them by 17, 41-24. Eagles secondary is weak. It's banged up, like you said. They've got 4th, 5th, 7th, 6th stringer guys in their starting positions right now. No Wentz, no Ajayi. This is just bad. The Saints are at home. It's going to be a blowout. That Foles magic's done. Isaac?
Give me Who Dat Nation and Breeze. Think they can get it done in the Dome. Like they said, it's a really tough place to play unless you're Tampa.
Or Carolina.
I'll say Carolina because Tampa Bay whipped that ass in the week 1 with their starters, and Carolina beat them with their backups. So
Oh
can't
God,
really count that.
I just got to count the little victories because
I know.
Tampa hasn't done anything since
He does,
2002.
dude.
Hey, we beat the Panthers' ass too, so it's okay. They got theirs.
Wait, didn't we whoop
Moving
your
on.
ass by like 17 points in the first time we played you?
Yeah, but I'm just saying we beat your ass the second time.
This must be what it's like to be a Browns fan. You remember that year we beat the Steelers like 20 years ago?
But we beat you this year.
Yeah,
It's not
I
20
know.
years ago.
It was first time in a long time. You got to feel good for him, dude.
It was, and I was very happy. But I mean, nobody thought that Tampa Bay could upset the Saints in Week 1, and Fitzmagic ripped their ass. So I was very pumped. And of course, they beat the Eagles, the other team that they're playing today, the next week on the Fitzmagic train.
And then they lost 6 in a row. That's okay.
And then the train went off the tracks and blew up.
I was okay
we
with
got 2
them
wins.
beating the Saints because it knocked a lot of people out of the survivor pool, which I ended up winning at the end of the season. So that was cool.
But I will say, I want Philly to win because, I mean, the Saints are in Carolina and Tampa Bay's division, and nobody wants to see them in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to cheer for the Eagles, but yeah. Saints.
I want to see them. I want to see them in the Super Bowl. I'm a fan of great football. I do not want to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl play the Chiefs or the Colts or the Patriots again.
No, I want the Rams, man. I want the Rams to go for the NFC and either be the Colts or the Chiefs or Patriots because they're probably going to.
Bottom line, this is one of the few
AFC.
Super Bowls I'm definitely pulling against the NFC in. So I hate all 4 of these teams in the NFC right now that are playing. I literally cannot stand the Saints. I'm probably like mostly pulling against the Saints, but I definitely don't want to see the Cowboys win. I definitely don't want to see the Rams win, and I definitely don't want to see the Eagles win. Give me.
What you got against the
Dude,
Rams?
they used to be in. A lot of people probably don't remember this, but
Way back.
This dude, when we first came to the league, we were in the NFC West. It was Carolina, San Francisco, St. Louis Rams. It was also the Saints and the Falcons. And dude, as a child, man, I grew up hating the Rams because I get deep hate for them growing up. Still don't like them. Yeah, and I've never pulled for any California team, so just tack that on there.
Patrick can hate the Rams because they were in our division for a couple years. He can hate them for 20 years, but he can cheer for the Patriots against the Falcons, even though the Patriots beat us in the Super Bowl in 2003. Like, I hate the Patriots.
I do too, but dude, the Falcons, man, I've hated them longer, I guess, and it's like just a resonating hate that I have for Atlanta and the Saints for sure. I definitely hate the Saints more than the Rams. So we played them longer.
Yeah, I mean, especially because they're always cutting Carolina and Tampa Bay's ass when they play since Drew Brees has been there. But with me, Dallas Cowboys, I'm not a Dallas hater.
Yeah,
I just hate the fans.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
Exactly.
The fans are. If they didn't have such crazy ass fans, then I wouldn't be cheering for Dallas, but I wouldn't.
Yeah. And you guys have heard me say
that.
I can't respect a fan base that thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl every year when they've been garbage for 20 years. At least Cleveland knows their place. Dallas thinks they're. I can't stand their fans. Can't stand them.
So you hate your brother.
I hate his. He's never even been to Dallas or Tampa. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't get it.
I've been to Tampa. I could say that, and I've actually been to the Chargers game before too when they were back in San Diego.
All right, cool.
They need to go back there, dude. I don't know what they're doing in LA. That was dumb.
Especially with the Rams being so good.
Playing in a soccer stadium.
They said if they make it past the Patriots, they will potentially, if the Colts win out, potentially relocate the Chargers game.
Oh my God.
Not to San Diego, just somewhere else because the stadium's too small or something like that. I saw that right before we started doing this. I just thought that was
funny. Well, I think our listeners got a little bit of extra work, a little bit of extra discussion there. We kind of went off the tracks a little bit, but that's okay. Cool. Anything else before we get off?
No, just like you said, make sure you get your rule changes in by Tuesday before midnight or whatever. going into Wednesday. And then voting will start right at the following day, and that's going to go, oh man, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can pull it up really quick. Voting essentially, I think, is going to last a week. Shouldn't take that long for everyone to vote. I mean, it's literally yes or no. So, and we've kind of talked about our rule changes at least. So, definitely no reason for you to have to contemplate. But yeah, no. Sorry, I'm still trying to pull this thing up. My phone's being a little slow. Yeah, so voting will be going to the 20th, 16th to the 20th.
5 days?
So have
All right.
Yeah, 5 days. So get
them
your
in
votes in.
and have fun in the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
And we will see you guys on our episode next week.
See ya.